Amy believes her worst fears about Finn have been realized as a result of the storm, and Lou reads Katie's journal without her consent. A storm that passed through Hudson at the beginning of the episode knocked out the power at the ranch and also took a life. Amy rode Spartan outside the morning following the storm to see how the fence fared. Spartan, however, appeared to want to take a different course. After initially resisting, Amy made the decision to follow Spartan's lead and follow his instincts. She then came across a group of horses keeping vigil for a friend who had died. Horseshoes conduct electricity, so when lightning struck a tree during the storm, it tragically killed Copper, Mallory's horse, who was standing nearby. It was particularly tragic that Copper was the horse that passed away because he was one of the few remaining horses at the ranch that Amy and Lou's mother Marion managed to save before she passed away. The following day, the family decided to hold a small memorial for Copper. Mallory and Jake decided to drive all night to make it to Heartland in time after Amy called to tell them about Copper. And they did arrive at the ranch in plenty of time to not only bid Copper farewell, but also to catch up with everyone and even to solve some of their own problems. Despite the fact that Mallory and Jake were last seen in season 10, they did attend Ty's funeral, which took place off-screen. And regrettably, Mallory and Jake had to go back to Heartland this time for another funeral. Nevertheless, everyone was happy to see Mallory and Jake again and was curious to know what they had been up to, despite the depressing reason for their visit. Mallory explained to the Bartlett Fleming family that after their motorhome finally died, they relocated to Walden, Colorado. Mallory has been taking online business classes while working part-time at a restaurant, while Jake has been a foreman at a ranch. And they recently purchased some land that they intend to use as their permanent residence. Although Tim and Jessica were still in New York, Jake asked Mallory why she had lied about their situation after the two had settled at the loft. Everyone had been impressed with how well Jake and Mallory were doing. Mallory expressed her desire to return to a more carefree period when she used to spend her time writing Copper at the ranch during her remarks at Copper's funeral service. Mallory then spent the remainder of the show attempting to solve everyone else's issues, including speaking with Katie on behalf of Lou and Peter and researching Finn for Amy, more on this later. So there was obviously a problem. Mallory eventually told everyone how they are really doing during the customary family dinner. It turned up that Jake lost his foreman position. They actually inherited the plot of land from Jake's uncle, but they are unable to do much with it due of the mounting property taxes, so they decided to list it for sale. And in order for the diner she worked at to keep afloat, Mallory had to drop out of business school and work more shifts there. Even though their troubles were now public, Mallory was still faced with fresh challenges. She was constantly feeling ill. Lou advised her to take a pregnancy test, and it was positive. The timing was also terrible because Mallory and Jake weren't in the ideal situation, either financially or otherwise. Fortunately, Amy and Lou were there for Mallory and advised her to just give Jake her news and see how that goes, even though the timing is poor. Mallory accordingly took that action. When Jake and Mallory did speak, it turned out that Jake had rejected the land offer they had received because Jack had made a strong impression on a friend who lives in Colorado and who would be willing to hire Jake as a foreman. So, things had already begun to improve. Additionally, Mallory's husband, Jake, was ecstatic when she told him she was pregnant. As they parted ways, the two made a promise to return to Heartland soon before heading out to begin a new chapter in their lives. Finn visited the ranch as Amy was working with Harley, who was grieving over the loss of his friend Copper. He was returning to Kindersley, and he had some unpleasant news for Amy. Finn told Amy that he would be gone for a very long time this time because he needed to return to his family because Amy was wondering how long he would be gone, given that he has pulled off a disappearing act before. That obviously disturbed Amy. However, she was upset that Finn didn't bother to give a reason for his departure rather than the fact that he was departing once more. They should be friends after all, and friends don't just up and leave without giving a reason. Amy was therefore forced to deal with her complicated feelings toward Finn, in addition to Copper's passing. Additionally, the fact that Mallory was interrogating Amy about Finn didn't help. Jessica's photographs had been returned to the ranch following the failure of her art exhibit. We saw Mallory look at some of them early in the episode, and she was drawn to the picture of Amy and Finn looking at each other. Mallory went to ask Amy what was going on between the two of them when she saw Finn leave the ranch after seeing him leave. Amy's conversation with Finn had already made her angry, so Mallory's interference didn't make things better. Mallory did, however, offer one helpful suggestion. She could look into Finn for Amy since he is being evasive about his reasons for leaving. Mallory was of course asked by Amy not to, but that didn't stop her from doing so. As a result, Mallory learned a few things about Finn's identity and the reasons behind his behavior. After a quick Google search, Mallory discovered that Finn doesn't have relatives in Kindersley. She also discovered a Finn-related article that she felt certain Amy ought to read. Mallory emailed Amy the link to the story, even though she initially disregarded her and it. The following day, Amy visited the loft to see the photograph of Finn and her that Mallory had mentioned. She also read the article that Mallory had found while she was there. It appears that Mallory discovered that Finn had been a party to a terrible vehicle accident 2 years prior that claimed the life of his companion. Amy questioned Finn about it when he subsequently stopped by to let her know that he had hired another farrier for the youth center. He initially acted evasively and defensively, even assuring Amy that he wasn't a broken horse that needed fixing. But after taking some time to settle down, Finn made the decision to tell Amy everything. Finn revealed to her that his friend Jay had perished in the vehicle accident and that he felt bad for having been the driver that evening. He also informed Amy that the Kindersley family he keeps mentioning is Jay's dad's relatives. And that Finn stepped up when Jay's father required assistance managing his farm last year as a result of his illness. Finn must return there even if Jay's father's condition has improved since the last procedure, because he now need another one. Finally, Amy saw why Finn was acting the way he was. She then thanked him for sharing that information with her and informed him that she will miss him. The two hugged and even enjoyed a quick kiss, but Amy broke it off and told Finn he should leave before it could continue. After all, he's going to be gone for who knows how long, and she needed to guard against having her heart broken once more. I really didn't anticipate the Finn plot to finish that way. Furthermore, I'm not even sure it's over. However, I'm happy that they are currently on friendly terms and that Amy had the courage to do the same after Ty. Because even though their relationship didn't last long, it taught Amy to be receptive to the proper person when she meets him or her. Heartland Season 16 Episode 7's final significant plot involved Lou, Katie, and Peter. We finally got to see Peter at the ranch in this episode after hearing about him all season. Lou, Peter, and Katie were adjusting to being at home after just returning from a trip to see Georgie in Florida. Lou was also seeking a distraction because she was still in shock following Georgie's accident. Apparently, the doctor had said that if Georgie had landed just inches to one side or the other, she could have been paralyzed or worse. Which she discovered in Katie. Lou found Katie's journal under her daughter's pillow that evening as she was up in Katie's room gathering her dirty laundry. And that's how Lou discovered Katie's crush on a more mature boy. Lou was so upset by this that she even woke up Peter to tell him about Katie's crush. The following day Lou told Mallory about Katie's crush, and Mallory decided to find out more about the boy Katie adores. However, that also didn't work, so Peter and Lou were forced to start over. When Katie realized she was too terrified to approach her parents a question that had been on her mind recently, she went to them instead. Katie asked her parents whether she may get her ears pierced, just as Lou and Peter were prepared to listen to their daughter talk about her crush on a boy. Lou and Peter were taken aback, but they reluctantly consented, with Lou even vowing to accompany Katie the next week. Everything appeared to be back to normal until Lou stuck her foot in it by bringing up Katie's age and how she might be starting to have crushes on males or girls. Naturally, this let Katie know that Lou had read her journal. Lou attempted to justify it by saying that it was open and that she had just read that one line, but the harm had already been done. Fortunately, Peter and Lou apologized to Katie the following day, explaining that they had overreacted and that she deserved her privacy. So, after Katie accepted their apology, all was back to normal in their small family. Fortunately, Peter and Lou apologized to Katie the following day, explaining that they had overreacted and that she deserved her privacy. So, after Katie accepted their apology, all was back to normal in their small family. Although Katie admitted to Parker in episode 3 that she doesn't have a crush on Logan, what Katie wrote in her notebook makes me question if perhaps she might. Peter did, however, consider some other options, such as the fresh busboy at Maggie's or the youngster working at the deli counter, so you never know, it might be a boy we haven't even yet met. Since the ranch was left without electricity following the storm that claimed copper, Jack spent the majority of the episode attempting to get his ancient generator to operate. Jack, being Jack, wouldn't even consider purchasing a new generator, despite numerous suggestions and repeated failures of the generator. Lou eventually bought a new generator for the home to use as the electricity came back on, but he hadn't given up on the old one yet. However, Jack's true role in this episode was to serve as everyone's support system. And Mallory was a case in point. This episode demonstrated that even after a lot of time had passed, Jack and Mallory could still have a sincere heart-to-heart. I remember the special bond they shared in the first few seasons. I also liked how Mallory warned Jack at the conclusion of the episode that he drinks too much coffee, which was a great nod to season 1, when Mallory tried to convince Jack to stop. Jack was thrilled when Mallory revealed that she is pregnant. Jack was proud of the lady Mallory has grown into and saddened to have to say goodbye so soon, as evidenced by his expression as Mallory said farewell.